Peace. Eh. Happy now. Now's the vibrate, of course. Not going too far in the future. Not going too far in the past. Right now. Right now. Only dealing with a glimpse into the past or a glimpse into the future, but relevant to our now. You know, it's not relevant to, the ascension of our soul in this moment. That's basically unneeded. Uh, I want to speak on. I came across this download just now, where I was like sitting down thinking about about shrinking myself. Like I'm like, oh yeah, I could shrink myself to go inside my body, and I was like, oh wait, no, and I say no, I can't. But like in the essence of like, me being in this body, if I shrink this body, I still won't be able to go into this body. Like I have to create a duplicate of myself to go within this body to, to give me feedback on like, well, what's the inside look like? What this area look like? What the stomach look like? What this, what I'm saying? And I thought about the analogy to, our existence as well. Source starting off as that consciousness, by itself. There's one dot. You got the one little dot of consciousness, and then, the consciousness expands out, in a circle. It's like, all right, that consciousness, after expanding its consciousness out in that circle and is aware of everything within that circle, it could move to the furthest point of its awareness, and then spread its awareness within that area. And this I just ugly. I done did this before, way more beautiful, with perfect circles within. So it moved from that first circle, and then it goes to the extent, of its where conscious awareness, and then stops right there, and then allows for its conscious awareness to spread in that area, and from that one state to the two. Again, you see the vesica Pisces or the vagina. You also see, the ass, the Taurus field, the breasts, just the female figure. And so as above, so below. Matter of fact, the female figure is sacred geometry, literally and figuratively speaking. But you get to see how that consciousness, again, is by itself, but in order to experience itself, it has to expand its consciousness in some way, form, or fashion, and that's where you get the expansion of, us, like basically where we are extension of source, so it's basically like, in essence, the personification of having a kid, and I thought about Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, and, like how could I see the blueprint of my body? I would have to, have some offspring or, create some other type of being to, go within my body and see what it looks like. And also with this analogy, you see why we got this this vibe where, depending on your perception, you could look at your parent, or your primordial self, because again, source, it's just basically we all are extension of source, that primordial one, that primordial mother in essence. But what I was gonna say, oh, depending on your perception, you could look at your parent or that primordial self as cruel for putting you through this, like, because you could be at a vibe where I didn't ask to be created and to go inside of my parent's body. I didn't ask for that, you know what I'm saying? But then two, not realizing you are an extension of, of your parent or higher self, basically source, but just an extension of it, and two, that's where we get lost in these illusions too. Like, well, it's not necessarily when I say illusion, as far as like our true existence is infinite, is infinity. Again, it's like the energy of the primordial mother, Like, reason why being in this human form is not our truest form, because, say, for instance, this human form, this bodysuit, this little bodysuit right here, eventually it goes back to the dirt. And what everybody calls car ray or universal frequencies, will no longer, exist on the physical, on a 3D level, and man, brain be moving so fast. Not say so fast, but trying to catch the download and speak. But so again, that's what I'm speaking on. Like, our true existence is the, immortality and eternity, but more so eternal and immortality as an energy, not in the human form, because that's what a lot of people be trying to push. Being immortal in this human form. And again, that's like reason why it's also considered with quote unquote devil worship, because it's like worshiping the lowest part of your existence, because again, we are higher beings, that vibrate on high frequencies, and this world is not our home in essence. And though you see that some beings, though, this world is their home in essence, and that's why they constantly trying to promote a vibration to keep you here with them, but again, you could, depending on your perception, you could be like, damn, man, I didn't ask to be created just so I could go inside my parent. Like, my parent created me just so I could go inside his or her body, go inside and see what it's like. It's like, I didn't sign up for that. And that's again that amnesia, like, well, oh, I didn't sign up for this, but you did, just not remembering, because again, the amnesia goes into this existence for us to also go through a certain learning process. Because if you come down here knowing everything and knowing all of what happened, won't necessarily go through your learning experience, and work through what energies you have to work through. But again, just the personification of our existence, because again, you could go inside yourself with your mind's eye. Like right now, I could close my eyes and go inside myself with my mind's eye. And you think about Source. Source could eternally see all of itself, but it's like, I want to physically experience, aspects of myself, and again, on a broad perspective, it's no good or evil, it's just experience, and that's the whole thing. Like, experience of wanting to feel, or the experience of, or wanting to experience myself in the physical, that's neither good or bad. And the only reason why it turns into something that's even considered bad is just that, again, we get to a state of mind where we brainwashed into thinking that the end all be all is being in this little bodysuit. Then that becomes harmful and detrimental to our soul. But at the end of the day, the only way to physically experience the inside of my body would be to create an extension of myself, a smaller version of myself, and then allow that smaller version of myself to occupy my body. But again, it's just bringing this into a more, again, 3D human perspective for us to just, because this is what it's all about, is being able to grasp, these bigger ideas. Because again, you're sitting here like, well, why are we here to experience, what's the point of that? Like those type of questions that we have, like that, wondering what's the point of our existence, and with me sharing a lot of these different, analogies, it just helps for us to grasp the concept of our existence. Because another thing too, though, our existence is not about, it's not about trying to, intellectualize and conceptualize every single thing within this existence as well. Some things to a certain extent, when I say not meant to be explained, but just was about us just being. The internal knowledge is there, it may be there in a way where you can like say for instance, the knowledge is there, it may not be to the point where you could, start a class about it and be like, here, this is this and that and this and that. But the information is within you, nonetheless, and it's being activated and working within you, even if you cannot logically teach a class about it, the energy still moves through you, just like how some of the people, in Louisiana were, they don't know nothing about the logics and stuff about anything past the Bible, but yet, it's still God-like characteristics within their daily lifestyles, even without, that proper, or not even say proper, but without the, the logical aspect of teaching, that godliness, that feminine energy, intuition, it just moves. It's like that knowing, without the logics of having to read a book and stuff like that. Not to knock, not to saying that again, there's no bad or good. So not saying that anything is wrong with reading books. But again, the only way to go inside, yourself, on a physical level would be to create a physical extension of yourself and allow for it to, go within your body. So as source, the only way to see what I look like on the inside is by first having an offspring, or external versions of myself, and then again, like on some Honey, I Shrunk the Kids type of vibe. Where's the movie that they didn't go inside the their parents' body, but again, like being shrunk and then going inside and like, oh, this is how the liver is. And again, everything is interconnected too. So even though, again, I view myself as, like that's my parent and I'm the daughter and I'm inside my parent, at the end of the day, because all is one, you're really inside yourself. You know what I'm saying? Still at the end of the day, because that anatomy, your parent's anatomy, is the blueprint for yours, and being inside of your parent allows for you to see that blueprint of how you built, and you're able to learn about yourself, again. But and that's why we call this an act, or like, using movie analogies and stuff like that, because it's like, your God acting as your children in essence, you know what I'm saying? Like, and that's the whole thing, like, oh, I don't, so again, that's more so from the perspective of like being this actor in this movie, like, oh man, I didn't ask for this role, or I didn't, you know what I'm saying? Being in our ego about our situation, is being disconnected from the bigger and whole picture, And again, though, and that's why you see too, just like on that mission, like being shrunk and going within myself, I have to maintain my physical body, so that means I have to maintain a certain level of ego to make sure that my body, my shrunken body, doesn't get damaged, or should I say my shrunken kids won't get damaged while they're inside of my my physical body as the parent, so as above so below. And that's basically, again, just the as above so below aspect, because I'm like, again, because you gotta think of it, source consciousness, it's not necessarily more than one consciousness, it was a primordial, oneness, so in essence, now of course that one had so many, how can I say, multiple characteristics within that one. As a matter of fact, that's where you get, the extension, where you get, humans and all the different life, life forms, trees, plants, animals, all this is all those different characteristics from that one mind being personified, But again, I'm just sitting there, I'm like, the only way to go inside myself, of course I could go inside with my spirit and my mind's eye. Matter of fact, I'm doing it now. Matter of fact, the energy is so matter of fact, the energy is so spiked up right now too, whereas supporting our extrasensory perception and metaphysical ability, so to speak. I'm sitting here actually doing it on camera, but really though, again, I could view the inside of my body through, you know, uh, like remote viewing, or like through the mind's eye. Not say remote viewing because you're right there, but viewing with the mind's eye, but to really get a perspective, and again, here it is. I'm sitting here by myself, nothing to really experience because I'm just one consciousness by itself, you know, like again, until I create that extension of myself, and because I know it's an extension of myself, even though that part of myself probably could get mad, like, why did you create me, this and that. At the end of the day, it's an extension of myself, You start to see, once we get to these higher realms of existence, things kind of do have like a not extremely cold level, like how, the scientists, that's trying to, kill off biological life on this planet and stuff like that. Not cold to that level, but, you do see that, again, as above, so below. If they got cold ass, beings, that the government, listen to and work with and this and that, then that mean that same coldness exists within source, somewhere within the hierarchy of the way we spiritually grow, is some of those quote unquote cold aspects. Just like you got the warm aspects. But it is that again, because you could be like, from a perception, depending on your perception, like, oh man, my parents fucked up for putting me through this. But again, that's more so of you speaking through your ego, through the God and higher self aspect. It's like, all right, I'm grateful for this experience to be within myself, learning about myself. So again, from a human physical aspect, like, oh yeah, I'm the kid, or I'm the son or the child, and there's my parent. But in the, true reality of our existence, it's all one. So shit, I'm the parent and the children, you know what I'm saying, as well. And again, it's just balancing the not say balance, but just the aspects of realizing that, we are truly, one organism, one consciousness, one being in essence. But you're also, here within this physical experience, experiencing things from the perspective of, one bodysuit. Maybe more than one bodysuit, depending on if you're an avatar or ascended master. That's other levels to it. But again, you just see that as above, so below aspect, like looking at myself and saying, and that's all it took, like, and seeing like that's a true aspect, like the part of our existence is like, source being itself. And like, how could I go within my body, like, how could I see the inside of my body, you know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, I could, externalize, like, a small fractal of myself, you know so I won't lose the whole, so I still have the whole full consciousness, but, release a fractal of myself, and that fractal of myself could have more fractals of myself, and it just, the infinite amount. You know, again, you just you start to see how we could pick up on so much of truths to our existence. We're dealing with the as above, so below aspect, and again, just kind of putting, because that's the whole essence, I am source, I am a God, I am the universe. So put myself in that perspective, like that's another reason why, you'll get to a place of like again, how I explain to people why, like, you know, without being inauthentic or pretentious, like, well, I don't get mad at people, you know, like, it's almost impossible for me to, you know, to get like mad at situations. In which, though, you see though the balance of like, well, all right, that's more so because I'm connected to, you know, this higher consciousness or higher consciousness this higher perception of existence, you know. But you start to see though, well, how having a higher perception of existence, uh, too much could throw off your body, you know, because I am here in a physical body. So as much as I perceive myself as a, you know, like basically an extension of the extension of the whole, you know, source in the human body, and how everything is a reflection of me. I also do, you know, keeping up with the aspect, but you know, I am in a human little body that people call universal frequencies and call rate. So you know, keeping the balance again is like, you know, you going too high in the high chakras without rooting yourself, then you just kind of just floating around. Like that's why our body, you know, you might see somebody, you know, extremely spiritual, extremely, you know, intellectual, this and that, but you know, they houseless, and you know, their bodysuit looking very dirty, and you know, they wondering where their next meal come from. Extremely spiritual and everything, you know, having it, but when you disconnect it from your root chakra, you know, it is what it is. You know, you disconnect it from the part of you that connects you to this physical plane, in essence. You know, and although this physical plane is not our end all be all of, you know, our existence, you know, this physical plane is not our home necessarily. uh I was gonna say, even though this place is not our home, you still want to be comfortable in your body, you know. You know, when you go to play a sport, you know, football, you know, I want to make sure my little pads are comfortable. You know what I'm saying? I want to make sure I got the best pads. I want to make sure they're comfortable so I could play this game to the fullest. You know what I'm saying? I could be my very best on this playing field. You know what I'm saying? And knowing after playing on this playing field, you know, put my pads up, I go home. You know what I'm saying? Of course, it's not exactly like playing football, because you know, after you go home, but then you got to go back to practice and to come back on the next Sunday and work again. But you know, just that just the simple analogy of it. But again, you know, just seeing how, you know, going within, dealing with, you know, again, the as above, so below. And if you're not familiar with the Hermetic principles, aka the Emerald tablets, you know, you definitely should get familiar with it. You know, the Hermetic principles are the, you know, seven, I think it's seven, laws of the universe, you know, quote unquote laws, but, you know, the principle or law of correspondence, as above, so below. As it is in the macrocosm, it is in the microcosm. You know what I'm saying? Because even the beings that, from a physical standpoint, that we may see as, you know, something bigger than us and outside of us, is still an aspect of us, you know, as well. And also you start to see where, again, we are the primordial parts of the universe, you know, and in essence, you know, from the darkness let there be light. You know, that's why melanated people are like the ancient indigenous people of, you know, the planet, because as above so below. From darkness, the most primordial part of our existence is from darkness and from feminine energy. You know, and when you look at the melanated people on the planet, we embody the darkness, and that feminine energy, more intuitive, less logical, you know what I'm saying? We are a personified aspect of that primordial energy, in which I'm gonna do a video later getting into Set, Soot Typhon and Tiamat and Leviathan and the primordial mother, Lilith, all this. It's basically pointing to, again, our primordial existence before, coming into the physical plane. And again, we just a physical representation of that, that energy of that story in essence. So again, it's like, the primordial, aspects of, and again, there's no necessarily beginning and end, but let's just say, for lack of a better word, a beginning of, expansion. And again, with that beginning of expansion, we started off as these primordial beings. As a matter of fact, like, the certain gods like Zeus, the story of Zeus and how, he locked up, Kronos or the Titans, the elder beings, you know what I'm saying? And Kronos, or Saturn is that that Saturnian energy is also dealing with, being a like a primordial, that's Saturn is a primordial energy, a representation of a primordial energy. So, with the story of Zeus locking up the Titans, again, that's also the story, of us to a certain extent, again, where, these primordial beings, but then somehow, because again, speaking of source creating like offspring, that primordial part of source, creating certain little offspring, again, and that ties to what, bringing up that those little gods those first gods that we created as an extension of us from the primordial self, from being the primordial mother energy, we created some images from that, and again, those are the children. And depending on perception, you could look at your parents as cruel for putting you through this, like, why y'all created me, this type of vibe, and that's in essence the story of, like the Titans being locked up, or why we, in the situation we are in this physical plane, is because of, we are that primordial mother energy, being locked up, in essence, and being, so basically we being like the beings that helping the government out right now, in essence, is like our children, you know what I'm saying? So those, I don't even not necessarily reptilian, but just these beings, because I don't want to get the situation, so I got to stay away from it to make sure things be clear. Those beings are like, our children. And the matter of fact, again, like how I was just saying, like, and they, in essence, mad at us for, some reason, or you could say mad or jealous, so it's like, I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take them. And matter of fact, you could, like the story of, like, taking the Titans and lock them up, or taking like that primordial mother energy, that void, that darkness, matter of fact, that carbon, that melanin, locking it up in a little bodysuit, you know what I'm saying? To serve as, and they took it even further, actually, trying to turn us into slaves on this physical plane, but basically like the Titans, the gods working for the children, basically that's the whole situation, going on. Is the melanated people, are the primordial gods, the great old ones, that H.P. Lovecraft was trying to make everybody scared of, not say trying, but people, took his information and, used it more for social engineering and subconscious programming to make everybody scared of the dark. Oh, be scared of. It's like, nah, don't be scared. You are the darkness. You know what I'm saying? That's why they constantly try to make you scared of 666. Ooh, that's the devil. Ooh, be scared. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they trying to make you scared of yourself. That's the whole game, as well. Trying to scare you away from your damn self. Also, the same thing with they try to create a fear towards serpents and snakes. You know what I'm saying? And think about when we think about Ethiopia, one of the eldest nations, and you think about Negas, and then those Kush people, because Kush is kind of like the name before Ethiopia. Those people from Kush, moved to the Indus Kush Valley, you know what I'm saying, which is the name, so you could say the Indus Valley, but it being named Kush because of the people from Kush or Ethiopia that moved to that area, so that Angkor Wat, Cambodia, India, that's all basically Kushites are, they're basically Kushites, but what I was gonna say is come on. I was speaking to the Nagas, and the fear of snakes, but Nagas, and then that word, going into Naga, the Naga. Matter of fact, some people favorite incense is the Nag Champa, the Nagas, those niggers. That's all, what I'm saying? It's no coincidence, that they, make everybody against the snake, make everybody against the woman, and make everybody against anything that has to deal with darkness or the word black. By all the word magic of everything horrible deals with black widow, black mamba, two of the most poisonous animals of their species, but they got the title black, the black plague, black death, darkness, ooh, at night the monsters come out, what I'm saying? Like, everything is trying to scare you, away from darkness, and in essence scare you away from yourself. So again, you see with the serpent, trying to make you scared of the snake. Adam and Eve, don't listen to that snake. That's the one that gave Eve that apple. Da 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 da. And I'm gonna start talking like the Cajun people around here, Shay. Oh no, I don't deal with that all that stuff, that metaphysical. No, Shay. I don't. I just go to church and I read my Bible, and I just pray that I know Jesus. Jesus is my Lord and Savior. Like, it's like, what did you do research to find out where did your Lord and Savior come from? Well, Shay, my mama taught me told me to go to church, and so we just go to church, we just follow what we was taught, follow what we was told. Oh, like how, like in slavery, just doing what you're told, and not doing research, It's like being scared of your own self. But again, I'm gonna just fall off because I don't want to. I felt myself trying to stem into my other video I want to do, but and reason being though, because it's just that strongly where that primordial mother energy is coming through very strongly right now, and matter of fact, again, to the point where it's just kind of just oozing, like that's been the subject matter lately. Also point me to everything dealing with like seven, like the seven heaven, the seven deadly sins, and I've been gravitated towards the seven deadly sins, the anime cartoon, and also gravitated towards the movie Seven, that deals with the seven deadly sins with Morgan Freeman and Brad Pitt. But no, something with the seven. No, matter of fact, and seven also. That's the seven deals with also the serpent energy. Matter of fact, think about September. It's the seventh month. September, seven month. October, like an octopus. October 8. Octopus has 8 legs. Yeah, the sept. September. That serpent energy. The Kundalini raising, within the planet, within this planet, so that's why, and again, the Kundalini in the seventh chakra, the seven heavens, and as above, so below. I done did videos speaking to this before, like being inside, like, again, like we are inside ourselves, so like, in essence, we passing through different chakras, like, and more so, like, you could think of it as us being in the root chakra of a being, preferably that being might be, a Lucifer, or, aka Enki, aka not say Saturn, but again, we inside the root chakra of a certain being, and to elevate from that root chakra, you go into higher chakras, go into the sacral, solar plexus, heart, go into these different realms, or these, these seven heavens, and also they got 7 layers of heart muscle on our heart, which is no coincidence as well. And again, the Kundalini energy has to rise out of the root chakra, through those 7 chakras, so the number 7 and serpent, serpent, it's no coincidence that, they coincide with each other. On the 7th day, God got weak after, creation. The reason why we call it, 7 days is a week, because after the 7 days of creation, so it's got a little week, had to take a little breather, But again, this is a primordial feminine aspect. Like, that is the, if ever we want to speak on anything, because when we say energy cannot be created nor destroyed. And matter of fact, that's funny, because the brethren, shout out to Flight Boss, Archangel Uriel, because again, because it's meant for us to question these certain things, or not even say question it, but if we have information that says otherwise, internally, bringing it up, because when we say energy cannot be destroyed nor created, again, that's more so in the sense of there's always constant energy. Because matter of fact, that terminology is one of those human 3D terminologies that doesn't really speak to the true reality of the whole situation. Because energy can be created. I could go work on that altar and work with, a certain interface with a certain energy, within myself. Like, I could, allow for that certain energy to do something towards, somebody or something like that. So, and not to say in a harmful way, but again, just like, say for instance, a love spell or whatever, that's a creation of energy. Now, where it comes in, where you're not creating the energy, and the essence of it is like, it's already, it's energy that exists already in essence. You just take it and giving it direction, and giving energy direction may not necessarily be creating energy, you know what I'm saying? So it's like on that deeper level, the energy not being destroyed or created, it's like, of course I'd be damned if I don't, like, say for instance, the energy that hinders me from my spiritual growth. As I start eating healthy and, and meditating and doing these certain things, that certain hindering energy is no longer present within my body. Again, though, because it's eliminated from my body doesn't necessarily mean it's eliminated completely. You know what I'm saying? Like it has the ability to still be floating. Again, that's what they mean. Like the energy cannot be created nor destroyed on just a broad level of that. Like energy is not going nowhere and it's not coming in from, like, say for instance, God is everything. There's no outside plug that source go to. Like say it's like a source of all got like an extension, like somebody it goes to outside of itself for energy, and it's like so in that aspect, energy cannot be created nor destroyed. Like all the energy that is within the infinite that is not going anywhere. Of course it could be used in certain little ways where it'll create the illusion, and to a certain extent, what I mean by illusion, well, just again, where I could create energies or make energies disappear, but it's just not necessary. I'm not destroying that energy, and I'm not necessarily creating that energy as much as I'm directing that energy. So when I go to catch a download, and I go to speaking on some certain words or something like that, I could say I'm creating the energy, or I could in essence be considered to be conjuring up an energy, or invoking or evoking the energy, and not necessarily creating it. Again, when we say that energy cannot be destroyed nor created, it's a deeper aspect, and again, it's about us tapping in deeper into, like, with these little phrases, like we're going deeper, like, can energy really be created or destroyed, and not just taking it as, oh well, that's what universal frequencies video says, or now of course, if I say that and deepen your soul, because you close to your intuition lets you know, like, hey, that's some real shit, you should listen to that. But even still, it's like still having to do your own the research, or getting your own unique connection with that phrase, or just unique understanding of these certain aspects, again, that we may regurgitate without really questioning, because it's like when I'm saying it again, and that's why I had to correct myself just now and be speak on the fullness of that level, because when I'm saying it, I'm not giving that deeper insight where, hey y'all, energy can see, in essence, be created or destroyed, but again, more from just like, again, in this physical plane, like the energy of this physical body, was created, like, up until Barbara and Carl had brought this little sun, this little light, this little sun to this plane. I wasn't existing in it, so to a certain extent, that energy was created, within this plane. But the fact that my consciousness come from an energy that always been and always will, I technically, my energy wasn't created, just from that physical standpoint of being in this physical realm, like, yeah, that energy was created, and then when I transition, it's quote unquote destroyed. But again, and that's why too, again, the physical body, so, and that's why people looking for that straight up physical aspect of me, feel lost. It's like, oh man, I ain't got, I can't even, universal gone, man, gone. But the people who, understand the way the energy work, for real, again, like the deeper aspect, or the truest reality of energy is like, well, no, it continues on, it just may not be in the same place, may not be used in the same way, but the energy is constantly in circulation, constantly. But basically, and again, just showing, if I want to see what the inside of my body look like, create a form of extension of myself, and also make sure that that extension of myself could create an extension of itself, you know. And basically, I got nothing but, basically little scientists and foot soldiers and children, which are, in essence me, but I got all these little extensions of myself, you know, uh, learning about myself, you know what I'm saying? Like, expanding in a process that allows for, a learning situation. Because again, up until like Source sitting by itself, in the non-physical, just consciousness floating, it hadn't, like say for what we experiencing right now is something that Source wasn't experiencing by itself. It was just energy by itself, like just chilling. You know what I'm saying? With nothing, you know what I'm saying? Because there's no physical aspect, there's no this aspect, there's no that aspect, it's just all one. So, that's just the existence. One whole consciousness talking to itself, in essence. Which, again, the same thing is going on now, but we just made it more fun, where we could be under the illusion that we actually are a little separate, like so. I'm universal frequencies, you, whoever you are, this and that, but we all God playing with itself, and that's, you know what I'm saying? Like that's the and these things I'm saying, because another thing I get, and that's why I continue, with my channel and continue with these views that may seem like they're, too out there, because my high self, keeps letting me know, like, hey, it's getting to a point where people are gonna need these, these simplistic understandings, and the way you just, talk about these certain aspects, even though it may not be fully appreciated at this moment, people are constantly growing and waking up, so these concepts will be able to be appreciated. So that's why I do it, even though I know the average person, may not know what a hermetic principle is and this and that, but you gonna learn today. But what's the other part? Like you gonna learn today. Ah, shit. God. But and again, and what's just happening right now is just that divine feminine energy is moving in way, just it's strongly being felt right now. And the little, the little government and the little people trying to stop, the situation, like they know it's over with. They know it's done. Because at this point, think about it. If you feel any negativity towards, say for instance, like towards the paradigm shift and towards people waking up, realize that any and all of your negativity towards this situation comes from watching the news, or it comes from listening to some external aspect, you know what I'm saying, or overly paying attention to some type of negativity that's going on in the world. Because at the end of the day, everybody is constantly waking up, again, down to some rappers and entertainers who you would least expect, bringing up chakras. And matter of fact, shout out to B.O.B. You see B.O.B. hanging with Brother Pan. Matter of fact, shout out to that whole that's fire right there. Just or the connections. Like, so with that being said, only somebody that wants, and again, a reminder, like if you feeling like the world going in or things is negative and not going, then you a part of the problem. Like the energy that's bringing the world down is moving through you right now. You know, that's why you feeling like oh, the world going in or this and that, because you interfacing your state of being is with a being that's not going to be here as we continuously grow. So the reason why you may be looking at things is like, man, oh, I don't know, man, it might be the end, because that's certain aspects of yourself that you identify with, that's trying to survive. You know, it's feeling the threat. You know, it's feeling like it's gonna die. But I don't remember what. Well, I was speaking to. I know I was speaking about fear. Oh, yeah, like with any little doubts or anything about you know like things like with people waking up and stuff like that. It's like that's coming from that energy. That energy then got a hold to you and trying to bring you down with it. You know. Because if you sitting there feeling like the world ending, if you feeling like, and that's the whole thing, and that's why it's all about, matter of fact, and I gotta show how Dan Winter and Bobby Hemming information come together, but it's all about bliss experience. It's all about teaching our soul how to leave this motherfucker. Point blank, period. And oh shit. And it's so appropriate to call this place a motherfucker. Because when you think about it, it really is. What I'm even talking about right now is like the masculine aspect, this physical being and masculine aspect trying to fuck over the primordial mother aspect, you know what I'm saying? Like the demiurge or those, like the, in essence, the ego-driven gods, are like the masculine, guys that was created from the primordial mother energy, And again, back to the energy cannot be destroyed nor created. This is true in the aspect of the wholeness of just all the oneness of energy. But again, say for instance, when the primordial mother creating, let's just say the first God or extension of itself, even though that God is being created, its energy is something eternal that never, was created and always been. So what goes into its creation is an infinite energy. You know what I'm saying? So again, creation, infinite, the paradox of, again, like the paradox of how right now, this book, it's stationary, it's not moving, the pages in this book is not turning, but yet, if I go deeper into the atomic structure, looking at this book on the atomic level, I would see that there's a bunch of atoms vibrating constantly moving, even though this book appears to not be moving. So, that's the paradox of our universe, things moving and not moving. Standing still, but I'm still moving. The whole situation. But that's basically it, because I got that other video that's going to have to be, it's going to be at least a 2-hour video. But again, just helping us to, because right now is the time to really realize the true concepts of our existence. That's why I'm being pushed, because I want to be a little lazy and matter of fact, and seeing how the negativity that doesn't want this change to come about is what was trying to promote me to be lazy, or to promote me to feel like, oh man, that video ain't gonna really do nothing. Like that little aspect passed, and then I caught it because realizing like, nah, that's that old negative voice that don't want this information to be put out there because it knows it further helps, squash the insanity of the egoic mind. And by helping us to understand our existence, helps for us to how I say acquiesce it. Use a big word, but to better to be fully adjusted and just be within this realm, and learn our lessons. Be able to exist, more fluently when you have knowledge of like what the situation is, But that's basically it. And depending on your perception, you could look at the parents, aka the primordial self, as cruel for putting me through this. But that's more so, again, that's like the drop of water. Like, oh, it's cruel that I am a drop of water that is extended from the whole river. Well, no, it's only cruel because you're choosing to look at yourself as only a drop of water that is not connected to the bigger whole. Of course, yeah, you are a drop of water as well, but you're also a part of the big whole. As far as the big, and in fact, the big hole. The big yoni, the big vagina, the black hole. The top of the torus field. Top or bottom, but the torus field. And that black hole. Matter of fact, Dan Winters tap into that as well, and two, seeing how spirit always been leading me in the right direction, because here it is. As a matter of fact, we're the most unlikely characters. If you ever, or if you don't know, go look up both of them, Bobby Hemmett and Dan Winter. Dan Winter, old white guy that's into more of the science vibe of the spiritual nature, and Bobby Hemmett, black brethren, black white, melanated brethren, outspoken, clowning, joking, you know what I'm saying? But deep in his studies, on a metaphysical level, without the super logical, scientific side of things. But yet these two people, information line up with each other, and it's not like they touched each other on the shoulder and was like, "Hey, we're gonna make sure our information line up." Like, no, starting to see things opening up more. That's basically it, because I don't want to go into, I want to make this other video its own video. But again, when we, and also breaking down these concepts, of like we are like this, existing in this situation, like that's to just help us, better understand what's going on around us, because when we better know what's going on around us, we could operate in a manner that's beneficial, to our soul growth. If we know what's really going on around us, So again, we just basically like and matter of fact, the esoteric, I bet you that may be the esoteric meaning of Honey, I Shrunk the Kid, even though they ain't go inside the body. It's like, Honey, I Shrunk the Kid is like, we are like, the small extensions of that bigger primordial mother, As above, so below. Have you ever seen any life form come out of a man? Like, have you ever saw any walking, talking human or anything come from out of a man? But I see, because even down to the fact, of course, the sperm goes into the situation, but say, for instance, like, I'm basically like, our bodysuits are basically made up of our mother's womb in essence, of like, we made out of our mama, literally, as much as that little sperm helped to, shake things up and get the little, process moving, and as much as the male characteristics do go into the process, like who's actually making, that physical body, you know, who's actually creating that physical body. It's not a man. It's not no fake sky daddy. The jig is up. It's not the sky daddy. Matter of fact, if you wanna, and I ain't even gonna say that, but it would be a sky mama before a sky daddy. And again, men, I got a nipple on my chest that doesn't secrete anything. You know why I got that nipple? It's because I started off and all of us, start off as females in the embryo stage. As above, so below. As a matter of fact, I see some brethren struggle with that vibe, because in some areas of this conscious movement of information and stuff like that, it still has that European approach to, I'm the man and I control this situation, my wife got to do this and that. Like bridges don't see fully how they still indirectly embodying that energy that's not true. Matter of fact, if anything, hypermasculinity is almost like a homosexuality. Think about football players. I'm the man, this and that. Every down with the quarterback, where the quarterback hands at, and every play or whatever, is grown men tackling each other. I'm not trying to knock any brethren who play the sport or anything. Matter of fact, I liked it. Again, we come up in the world not knowing no better. Shit, I like to play football myself at one time. No homo. I had to do that. I had to. But like that's the thing. Like over like hyper masculinity. You know what I'm saying? Like, you look at some of our brethren who been institutionalized by jail, how they rather spend their time like being around other men. You know what I'm saying? Like, and again, as I'm bringing it up, not to joke on the people in that situation. Like, I might joke of the situation, but not of the people. But again, like what brethren like, oh fuck that. Like, say for instance, like us being from the hood, we know the dynamic. Our partner that again may have been locked up a lot, where he has this vibe of like, oh man, you gonna chill with your girl, man, oh man, or you gonna do this with your girl, this and that, like as if you supposed to be married to him. You know what I'm saying? Like, as if y'all in a relationship. And again, this is a situation that has become the social norm, and without people having knowledge of self and knowing what's really going on, you think that over masculinity is cool, but when again it's just a reverse psychology, or not say reverse psychology, but just a reverse vibe of homosexuality. Again, the fraternities. I'm a man and we stomp, and but we also whip each other with paddles behind closed doors. You know what I'm saying? It's like, or over masculinity, and again, not knocking the frat brothers and none of this. Again, bringing up truth information. I'm not knocking homosexual people. I'm not knocking brethren who like to play sports or be in fraternities. I'm just, speaking on the reality of the situation. Because some of you, may be doing it out of, you wasn't, because that's all you were told. And like some people may want to do different. Like some football players or frat members, like, want to know the truth and be like, oh, all right, damn, well, fuck it, I'm not being in football no more. I'm not dealing with these frats anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not me knocking it, but me bringing up the information, you know, just so uh, it could be there for us to inform ourselves, and you know, when we know what's really going on, we know how to operate. You know, and a bunch of men butt naked in the locker room, like that's not again hyper masculinity. You know, but I digress. Peace. Matter of fact, happy now. I'm just making sure. Make sure. I understand. So again, just a simple analogy. Like right now, try to go inside yourself physically. Like physically touch the inside of your stomach walls. Physically touch the inside of, you know, your kidneys or your spleen. Like try to do that right now. And of course, I don't mean try to do it being sarcastic in essence. Again, like you know, it's from within this physical plane, the way things are operating. You know, it's I don't like to use the word impossible or can't, but you know, it's just very difficult. Let's just say it's extremely difficult for us to touch, you know, or be within our. It's extremely difficult for me to be inside my body while still being here at this size level and you know on this level. Like if I shrunk myself, then how could I go inside myself? You know. So just that aspect of so and seeing that like I'm source. So how could I experience myself? You know. How can I, you know how this operates? And again, that's that the logical part of source. You know, first you have the feminine aspect. You know, that's just being and just you know everything being going with the flow. No explanation for nothing. No logic. No nothing. Until you know again that masculine energy came about and wanted to you know question like logic. Like well, what? Like I want to discover. You know, and even again, even though this masculine light may be, you know, seen as something separate from the primordial mother, it is still the primordial mother one and the same, you know, like it's still that all, you know, again, just an extension in this role we're playing, you know, evolving and growing and learning about ourselves in essence. For the most part, I would just say like all of this experience is about us having the experience and just more so just having the experience. I would say learning because we are learning, but again, is that you know the whole and the small. So from a whole perspective, we know everything that there is to know about our existence. You know, but in order to have this experience, you know, we have to, you know, have a you know, some type of amnesia to even be able to experience things or feel like we experiencing everything. Again, like if we just came down here with all the knowledge of being God and being connected to everything on that level, then, you know, we'd be down here like, well, what's it to do? Or what, you know, I am everything. I know everything. What we doing? You know. But again, like, so as source, the only way to see what I look like inside is by, you know, from that first point, you know, stepping out. Then all right now, with that second point, now I'm able to, you know, reproduce because I got the vesica Pisces or the yoni, this portal right here that could now, you know, allow something to come in and experience, you know, again, experiencing itself, primordial mother, you know, energy, you know, fractalizing itself or herself, or, you know, again, it's an energy though. This is energy, you know, fractalizing itself into you know, expanding out, experiencing itself, you know. And I'm just trying to make sure I chop it and cut it into, you know, because I done said this about 3 times in this video, but just making sure I, you know, get the perspective, you know, fully understood, you know. But that's basically it. Peace. Happy now. Now is the vibrate, of course. Not going too far in the future. Not going too far in the past. Right now.